On the evening of Monday, January 8, 2024, following the Maghrib prayers, an impressive ultra-modern science block spanning ground plus 2 floors was officially inaugurated at the Venerable Islamia Boys Higher Secondary School in Vaniyambadi. The distinguished guest for the occasion was Mr. MOHSIN FASIH, Vice President and Head of Quality Engineering Services at Capgemini, Australia and New Zealand. This state-of-the-art facility boasts a cutting-edge computer lab housing over 40 computers, fully equipped chemistry and biology labs, and a technologically advanced smart classroom. Our video captures the momentous inauguration ceremony, featuring highlights of the event and the insightful speech delivered by the guest, Mr. MOHSIN FASIH. Join us as we showcase the remarkable features of this transformative addition, providing a glimpse into the future of education at Islamia Boys Higher Secondary School.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulil ameen, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, ila yawmiddin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri, wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. सारी तारीफें अल्लाह रब्बुल इज़्ज़त के लिए है जो हम सबका खालिक, मालिक और बारगाह है। लाखों दरूद व सलाम हो नबी अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम पर, आपके अहले व अयाल पर, असहाबे किराम पर, तमाम उलमा और तमाम मुस्लिमीन। जनाब सदर अब्दुल्ला बादशाह साहब, नायब सदर जनाब पटेल मोहम्मद यूसुफ साहब, दाइस पर तशरीफ फरमा BMES के जिम्मेदार हजरात जनाब फैसल साहब और यहाँ मौजूद तमाम शहर के मालिकी और BMES के जिम्मेदार I discussed with Yusuf Saab a couple of days back about this program, and he said I could speak in English, in Urdu. I thought I might be disadvantaged if I speak English, but looks like I'm the only one who's speaking Urdu. Alhamdulillah. So I'll take a bit of liberty and speak both in Urdu and English. Alhamdulillah. First of all, I would like to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this solemn gathering and the opportunity that Allah has provided for all of us to witness a very historic moment in the history of the educational journey of this great city. Alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah. And I would also like to second what Dr. Ikram Saab said here, that it is the vision of our great-grandfathers, of our ancestors, of our elders, who really had the vision to think beyond their times, to not just play an individual role in their lives, in their community, but rather to play a larger-than-life role and think beyond themselves, think beyond their own children, think beyond their own families, and to create institutions that would run till generations ahead, till the day of Qiyamah, inshallah. And it's a huge gift and a huge ihsan that alhamdulillah they have done upon all of us, for the entire city, for generations of us coming together to provide us those solemn institutions which might have had a very humble beginning, of course, might decades. But Alhamdulillah, 120 years later, when we sit here and we are talking about expanding into a new block and talking about future, look where we are, Alhamdulillah. And all the efforts has not gone waste. May Allah accept their efforts, may Allah accept their generosity, may Allah accept their niyyah, their efforts and all their initiatives, however small they were, in creating this legacy for the Ummah. And also leave an inspiration for all of us to do the same. People will forget us. People will forget who I am. People will forget each one of us. After a few days past, we are gone from this world, from this dunya. Nothing would remain. But Alhamdulillah, what would remain as a sawab-e-jariyah are these acts. Of the three things that Rasulullah said, that you leave a child or a progeny with iman, or you do acts of charity, or you leave beneficial knowledge. So Alhamdulillah, institutions like these serve two of those three purposes of leaving charity and generosity that will continue as continue to benefit our books for future, and then the beneficial knowledge, the ilm nafi' that continues for generations as well. Alhamdulillah. So let's take an opportunity to thank them, and also I would like to join myself in thanking all the members of the executive committee and all the alumni, some of whom might be my friends, whom I know. There was constant mention of Brother Fareed's name here. I know him and his brother. Alhamdulillah. So I'm grateful that Allah gave some of us in this generation as well the opportunity to be of service to these organizations. Alhamdulillah, it's also a matter of a great personal pride with all humility for me as well. Alhamdulillah, because I see myself and three of my younger brothers as a product of the Muslim educational societies in the greater North Arcot district, if you will. Alhamdulillah. I started my schooling, Alhamdulillah, may Allah reward my father who's here, Janab Muhammad Sahab, along with me here. I really pray for him and I thank him with all my heart on behalf of myself, and my children and my brothers, for being bold and making the right decisions and choosing the right institutions to put us through, Alhamdulillah. In the 80s, he decided that from Vellore, I should be coming and starting education at Anika Oriental Arabic Higher Secondary School, as a grade 6 student. So Alhamdulillah, my roots in my own personal life, when I look back and reflect now, it started from these institutions here. I spent my early days of my high school in Anika school, in the hostel. And I'm grateful to Janab Rashid Sahab, headmaster. Many people know him for other reasons, as somebody who was very strict and who will walk with his cane always and with his, white and white, wrinkle-free uniform. Alhamdulillah, he might have been harsh at times with us, but the tarbiyah that he imparted upon us, Alhamdulillah, that's a testimony to the life that we are leading today, Alhamdulillah. And then I also happened to, Alhamdulillah, after Anika, I spent my schooling days in Islamic Boys Higher Secondary School, Megashar, for many years till my grade 12, Alhamdulillah. And my brothers as well continued to study in Vishara as well. And in this school, Alhamdulillah, I have also had the honor to visit the school as a student in this very hall, as a participant in the OMIAT competitive functions. So, my heart really thanks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the bottom of it, that Allah has given us the opportunity to be amongst the gatherings, to be amongst the teachers, and to be amongst the efforts and initiatives that many institutions in this greater district have put through. of my professional life, where I have traveled, alhamdulillah, all across the US, in Canada, in Singapore, in Middle East, in UK, in Europe, where I have lived for many years, and also in Australia and New Zealand now. Alhamdulillah, I have come across a number of our students, both Muslim and non-Muslim students, alhamdulillah, who have passed out from these very same institutions and are, alhamdulillah, doing very well in their professional lives, and a number of them have also got the hidayah to serve the community as well, not just making their professional life, not just buying their cars and building their homes, but looking at the larger purpose of life beyond just their careers as well. Alhamdulillah. So all of this, when we look back, alhamdulillah, that should be a great matter of pride for each one of you. Every single effort that all of you or any of the wider communities throwing into this process, it yields compounded effort and it surely its results somewhere else. And inshallah, all of that benefit, all of that ajr will come back to each one of you and each one of us. Having said that, I think I will just take another 5 to 6 minutes to quickly share some of my observation around where the future of education is heading today. Given we are all engaged in some way or the other in terms of the whole sphere and dimension of education and educating our kids and our future generation, I think it's a huge inflection point. Amongst the many crises that we have today as a humanity, as a community, as a people, we share multiple crises at a global scale. One of the most critical crises that the world has experienced today is the crisis of education. There are two extreme dimensions or two extreme points that you could think of to really sum it up. At one end, there is this huge crisis which is still trying to solve the bigger question in terms of what is the purpose of education. What should be the ultimate goal of education? What should be the ultimate purpose of education? Schools and colleges and universities and organizations are still grappling with this larger question. One of the largest exam questions or the discussion points in the latest Nobel Prize forum that was held last year was around the future of education. Everything, in spite of everything that we do, all the great labs that we are building, and the technology that we are building, and the tools that we are creating, and the huge researches that's happening in education, is ultimately education delivering to humanity what it should be delivering or what it's supposed to deliver? Is education helping all of us collectively as a species to be a better human at large? And unfortunately, the overwhelming answer is no. It's not delivering its goods. Is it delivering better human beings? Is it helping us to live with peace with each other? Is it helping us to deliver justice to people? Is it helping to narrow down the gap between the haves and the have-nots in terms of an equitable growth? No. Is it really creating equal opportunities for everyone, no matter where they live? Unfortunately, no. Education is supposed to be a great equalizer. Is it really becoming a great equalizer? Partially, yes. But greatly, it still continues to be a de-equalizer. So those are some of the larger philosophical questions that that institutions and universities are grappling with. The root word for education in Latin, educate or educare, it means to draw something out, to bring out something that is already in, which, alhamdulillah, if you look at it from an Islamic tradition point of view, is also the same. For us, ta'aleem is something which is not teaching human beings something new. It is about Ta'ala has already taught everything to us. Allah Ta'ala has already sown the seed of knowledge in Adam alayhi salam, and through that will enter humanity. And what we would do, what knowledge should do, is essentially remind. It's an act of tazakkur, and that's why Quran is a zikr. It's a reminder. You have to remind the human being what they already know, that they are a spiritual creation, that they have a purpose in life, that they are not meant to be here, to just live and die like any other species or like any other animal, or just vanish in dust and thin air. That they have got a creator that they have to go back to, that they have got an accountability for every action that they have got to account for and report back to. So this is the reminder, the covenant that we have taken in the Alam al-Arwah, where Allah asked, "Lastu birabbikum wala sharikna," where Allah asked, am I not your Lord? And we all have given that covenant, O Allah, of course, we bear witness, and you are our Lord. So it's a reminder to that covenant, and education should be a process of that reminder on a day-to-day basis, through which the human soul nourishes and flourishes. And in Arabic and Urdu, the translation for that word goes as ta'lim wa tarbiyah. There is no single word. In our Islamic tradition, the way our Islam have used is always ta'lim wa tarbiyah. Ta'lim and tarbiyah go together. And the root word for tarbiyah is the same root word for Rabb. Rabb is the one who nourishes, who causes to grow, who flourishes. And a teacher is a murabbi, and Allah is a murabbi as well, who nourishes and flourishes. And a teacher and a ustaz, his job is also to do the same act of a murabbi, to play the role of a murabbi who flourishes the soul, who nourishes the soul, to elevate and have the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And ta'lim is again, the root word in Arabic, alama, right? Alam means to create a mark, to leave a sign. In early days, the way they would write is to carve in clay, right? And it would leave a mark, and that way people would read, like the way we see calligraphy. So ta'lim is essentially to leave a mark, to create an impact. So if one is educated, it means that one has to be playing a role in a society, in a community, where they leave a mark, a positive mark, an impact. Something like what we are discussing about our elders and our founders today, Alhamdulillah. So each one of us is meant to go through the process of ta'lim and leave a mark, push as we go. That's the purpose. So school and the college and the place of education is supposed to be a place where one learns to live and not just learns to earn a livelihood. Right? It's about creating men and women and young minds for life, not just for livelihood. And our schools delivering that today is something which is a question mark. So I think that's something that as educators, as teachers, we'll have to continuously think and evolve. And Alhamdulillah, we have the gift of knowing the sacred traditions as well, and some of that benefit could be brought back to our student community. And I'll finish with the second extreme, other major crises that we are going through now as of this year, of which we're not talking about 2 years back, but we all have to talk about today, is the challenge of AI, artificial intelligence. Right? Inshallah, our presidents are here. The next lab that we should be opening in the school is the AI lab. Inshallah. That will be inshallah. We need it in the school. College is too late now. Our 6-year-old, 7-year-old children, kids are using AI now. Right? It's too late. Mr. Sobet mentioned that for some of the labs we are already 20 years behind, 25 years behind. Let's not be late for AI. Right? Let's catch the bus when we have it. Let's not miss the bus, inshallah, and we need it, and it's very easy. So inshallah, and there are good and bad sides of AI. And it's so quick and it's so fast, and the amount of impact that it's creating tangible. Until last year, people were not talking about AI in public. Since late 2022, early 2023, all of you have heard about something called ChatGPT, right? It's a modern AI chatbot. It's a machine, essentially. It's a network of artificial neural networks connected globally. And with ChatGPT, what we could do is we could actually have a conversation with the machine, with the ChatGPT, as if you're talking to any learned person in the world. Right? ChatGPT is the most knowledgeable khatib in the world today. The most knowledgeable khatib in Islam, on Islam, is ChatGPT. You go to ChatGPT and say, I need a 20-minute khutbah on this topic of sabr in the guidance in the light of Quran and Sunnah, which also talks about some of the stories or narrations from within the Hanafi fiqh. You just need to tell that, and then subhanAllah, it will give you a perfect khutbah. The khutbah ula and the khutbah sani and the dua and the darud and the hadith number with the Sahih Muslim and Sihasita. No other khatib from Umarabad or Jamia or Salam can beat it. Right? And you can ask anything to it. You can go and have a conversation. If you want to have a conversation with Isaac Newton, as if he was alive today, Zinda, right? You can go and have a chat to ChatGPT and some of the AI powered tools today, AI assistants, and you can say, I want you to consider that you are Isaac Newton living in 2023, and I have this question. Can you explain it to me as Newton would explain, and you will get it. You could go back in time and talk to Socrates. You can go and tell Socrates, hey Socrates, you have this principle in your book. What made you write this? What was your argument with Aristotle and Plato? And it will give you a full conversation. You can record a 3-second audio of your voice. I have been speaking to you for the past maybe 12-13 minutes now. You can record a 3-minute audio of your voice, and you can ask the AI tool to read the entire Tafhim al-Quran in your voice, or the whole Ma'arif al-Quran in your voice. And if you do it will render it back to you. You can go and ask on your bedtime story, you can pick a book and say, I want to hear this book in Amitabh Bachchan's voice, and I want to see it. It will read it back to you. You can choose multiple objects. It will convert your image into a text into a video into a 3D into graphic, and it will all come together. Imagine the amount of complexity and the underlying complexity that it creates, and imagine the ecosystem that will create for the schools of the future. The reason I am mentioning this, which I will complete, is this is just to give you a glimpse of what the future of the classroom may look like. It's going to be radically different than the schools that our parents had, the schools that we had, and the schools that we are having today. And when I say the future, it doesn't, mind you, it's not 50 years from now, it's 10 years from now. It's going to be harder and harder to hold the attention span of the student in a classroom until the teacher is really smart. Brother Siddiq Sahab, who was explaining and giving a demo of all the smart classes today and the smart boards. Right? We need hundreds of Siddiq Sahab, and much more better than that, to have a meaningful conversation with the students of the future in the schools in the next decade. We'll have to encourage curiosity. The students of the future and the classrooms of the future, it's not about rote learning, it's not about the skills of memorization, it's not about the power of your recall. Generally, the Indian education and most of our education is predominantly the power of memorization and the power of recall. If you have imagination. It's about knowing more things in one person. A physics teacher will need to know about physics, mathematics, art, liberal arts, a number of things to bring a meaningful conversation to a student. Now we are at an age where some of the online tools like Khan Academy and Famigo, which some of you would know and your students should be using, you could just subscribe to an AI assistant. Every student can have a personalized tutor, and every teacher can have a personalized assistant to teach to a student, create a curriculum that's designed for a student, for his intellect, for his GPA, for his IQ level, for his language. So that's the future that we are looking at, and this is not just about the West, it's happening and will happen at pace in India as well. So this has, it has its own negative effects. It's one of the negative effects of AI is that even though it's super intelligent, it doesn't know what it doesn't know. Right? In Islam, there are two levels of Juhal. We have ilm, and the opposite of that is Juhal. अगर किसी को किसी चीज का इल्म नहीं है तो वो जाहिल है। अगर उसे पता है कि मुझे इस चीज का इल्म नहीं है तो वो सिंपल इग्नोरेंस है। Right? That's simple ignorance. In our tradition, we call it Juhal al-Basi. Right? It's simple ignorance. Somebody knows that I don't know. You ask me something about footwear technology. I studied it 25 years back. This was reminded me. I used to work at EOC, Tannery, and I used to work at Florence level in the at the footwear division and in the dyeing unit. So Alhamdulillah I knew, but today what's done there, I don't know. If I don't know about it, I have some ignorance about it. But there is a level of ignorance about it which is called compounded ignorance, or Jahalul Murakkab. It means if somebody doesn't know what they don't know, right, उसको अपनी जिहालत का भी इंतकार नहीं है, तो वो बहुत खतरनाक जिहालत है. And AI is that sort of ignorance. You ask anything that it doesn't know, it won't say I don't know about it. It will give you an answer as if it's 100%, 110% sure about it. And that's dangerous. And AI, it does not recognize human empathy. It does not understand sabr. It does not understand tahammul. It does not appreciate adl. It does not appreciate justice. It does not appreciate equity. It's just a machine. Right? If somebody crosses a traffic light, then it will issue a fine. That's it. If that person crossed a traffic light because his brake had failed, or he was rushing to the hospital to take somebody who was in labor pain, and all of that, it doesn't know anything about it. Just an example. So imagine the future of the world and the human society is to be based on AI. Our policing will be based on AI. Our court system will be based on AI. Our student ranking and our calibrations will be based on AI. Our justice system and our business models will be based on AI, which is built on bias, which is built on hallucinations. It's called hallucination. Right? So those are some of the complex theories which some of you would already be aware of. But we have to be prepared for that. Let's prepare for that. Let's take advice from people that know about it and create an environment that's ready for future to enable our students for successful future as well. Apologies if I have taken more time than I was supposed to. I request Allah, I pray to Him humbly that Allah accept the efforts that we have put in, and Allah keep us on the straight path, and Allah guide humanity, and Allah establish peace in the world. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Assalamu alaikum, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'a wa amalan salihan wa amalan mutaqabbala wa tawbatan nasuha.